Still 2023, looking more about it, looking at leadership recruitment and the rest. We want to look at the Nigerian state and what kind of leaders do we need to have in 2023, considering the kind of considering the state Nigeria is at the moment, insecurity, poor economy, name it, everything seems to be on the negative. So what kind of leaders do we need to have to turn things around? That's our focus at this time. And we have Sam Agwa. He's a political analyst and he joins us on this program. Mr. Sam, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you so much. Nice for having me in your studio.
Yes, indeed, a great pleasure having you here.
Exactly.
You have followed political trends many times. Let's start. Where do we start from? Maybe we start from the presidency, where it is where most or the larger power lies. From 1960 up to this moment, how impressive have you been with the style of leadership or the style of leaders we've had?
Well, maybe if you look at it critically from the onset, when we started with things like what some people call unitary or parliamentary system of government, there was some bit of competition, there was some bit of genuineness in people trying to attract good things to their areas. Somewhere along the line, I don't know, we got too divisive or somehow, but for me, let me get straight, I think we are actually in the gutter. And I say that with all patriotism, because I want to believe that we have not gotten it right. You see, when people aspire to come into leadership, they will always come with very beautiful talks. People believe them, or some could get in through some, maybe through some fake electoral arrangements or so. But ultimately, what we have in Nigeria looks to me like we are just trying to strive to get at something that is right. So without going into lots of trying to intellectualize this discussion, for me I think 2023 we need to look at leaders that we have tested at various levels. Let's not attempt anything, any experiment. Now, looking at those we have tested also, we need to go further. When we tested them, what impact did that bring? If you remember, with every sense of respect for President Buhari, we thought he would get it right on the economy. Despite everything, you and I know that things are not right. We thought he would get it right on security. To this moment, every day, we just what we wait today in Nigeria is to say, okay, how many people are killed? So when we hear larger numbers, oh, but when it's like 2, 3, it looks normal to us. And again, the general issues of divisiveness. So for me, I think an opportunity has come for us, 2023, to sit as both voters, as party people, and try to see that we get it right. So that ultimately, let's not gamble again. So I talked about people who tested, but I talked about people who tested and what impact did they make. I don't want to buy into this idea of just trying to just get any Tom, Dick, and Harry again on. Because the experience we have had with President Buhari, despite all the efforts he has made, has proven to us that we need to go deeper. Not just because he has been there, but these things, but as we move on now, I'll get to even say, or maybe I can go ahead to say that beyond the fact that the leader may be correct, there are certain inherent things that could create a leader not getting it right. And some of them are structural, some of them are constitutional.
Okay, before you go into that, we will come to that, looking at maybe other things that could hinder the performance of a leader. But you made mention of we should be looking at those who have tested
with impact.
With impact. It sounds as if we are dismissing the fact that there could be new entrants. There could be people who are also very capable and they are new coming in on board. It sounds as if you are dismissing their entrance into the political realm.
No. Anybody coming on stream has been tested in one way or the other. Maybe you are trying to look at it that when I talk about tested, the person must have been a governor, must have been a president before. He could even be a labor leader. He could even be a class monitor in the class. People know. I'm talking about that level of testing. He could even be a church leader or even somebody that writes BAM in the villages. So nobody that comes into politics is entirely a new entrant. I'm looking at, because for instance, even if I don't know you, I should be able to hear from her that, okay, look, we have tested this guy before. He was able to do A, B, C, D, E. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Because experience has proven now that testing alone or being there alone is not the solution. You know, remember, we have been recycling leaders in this country. Nothing has really been changing per se. So I'm not talking, there's no new entrant in this show. Anybody coming has played one leadership role in some area, some association or something. So but what was that thing the person left? I really not mind somebody who was looking after livestock that did well coming to be governor because he proved something. That's the point I'm trying to say. Okay. Tested with impact. The people are able to say, oh look, this guy, this. That's the point I'm saying.
As far as the testing with impact is concerned, what do you have to say concerning the political aspirants caught across different political parties here in Nigeria currently vying for different positions come 2023?
That's a bit tough one to discuss because, you know, every party has its internal democracy arrangement to bring its candidate. You, me, and you cannot vote anybody. It is the parties that will bring us the choices. So if the party tenders before you, fight devils. I would advise you go for a devil that is better, even though nothing about the devil may be better. So you see, the processes of people coming to contest elections or being there is what you and I have no control on. It is the people in those political systems. But it looks to me Nigerians are beginning to get it right now. A lot of, if you look at what is happening across the political parties or the political space generally, there's a lot of keenness in who comes up, whether it's skewed or not or whatever. So for us, when the candidates come, we look at them. But what I said earlier stands. As I'm looking at you, I know she was a head girl. This is what I've heard, that she was that level of demonstrable kind of impact I'm looking about. Let the parties pop up candidates and then the conversation can also begin. Okay. They may not particularly pop up saints. Get that right. That's why I made that illustration. Pick from the garbage you have something good that you can move with.
Okay, that is quite instructive.
Yeah.
Maybe pick people, but looking at this at the moment, the kind of leadership in 2023, you made mention of where things are not getting better. I asked you earlier on, from 1960 where we got independence to this moment, we believe that by now we would have gotten Nigeria would have been well placed, because a lot of people have come with good intentions. And you made mention of something there which I want to also talk about, that when they come, they rule out good plans and all of that, and when they become the leader eventually, you don't see those things actionable, you don't see them implemented.
Yeah.
Where do you think there is a missing link?
The missing link is two ways. First, the missing link is at the level of the system itself. Look at the constitutional system that we have that gives so much power to, let's say, somebody like a governor who can actually decide A or B. Look at the constitution in terms of imbalances by way of even these issues of people talking about rotation or zoning and things not being very clear. So fundamentally, there are so many gaps that people cashing. Now, I may come in with good intention. I may come in with a brilliant way to get Nigeria out of the gutter. But I may somehow be hindered by what is supposed to be a nice arrangement. Look, issues of autonomy, issues of this, so many things not being very clear. That is on one side. Then the leader himself. When I was a teacher, I would tell my students, when somebody is in a relationship with you, don't look at what the person does to you. Close your eyes to it. He may be excited out of that love that is shaking his head. concentrate more on how that guy relates to his sister. How does he relate to his mother? Does he send his mother airtime? That you, every time you are shouting and excited with your friends, that, hey, John, send me 20K airtime. John is what? Try to find out how that person within his space of friends, how does he shout on his friends? He's not shouting on you. So if you discover he shouts on his friends, he's hostile to people who doesn't relate with, know that that is the real him. So the day this love is no longer there, you discover, oh, this guy was a monster after all. I didn't know. Now if we relate this, that's why I'm talking about this inhibition. Yes, the leader too can get up, assert himself and say, hey, look, I will do the right thing. But when you discover these gaps that are not very clear, that you can cash in on them, even things like approval limits. There are people in this country that have approval limits in the kind of millions that they can do officially before really resorting to ESCO or returning to their management. There are little things. So when these things come in and you begin to see this, do I call them these attractions and that, things begin to get wrong. It's about the human person and also about the system that has structured things. If we even go deeper, you help me to get in there. Why can't I give you that contract? You help me. A lot of things happen that begin to affect this leadership thing. So it's a two-way thing. It's beyond the fact that look for tested, proven people that are giving impact. It's also about the let me call them lacunas, the gaps in the system that promote some of these things, make people suddenly get up, become emperors, and then leadership begins to suffer because of the immense powers they have and that. But we are trusting the Nigerians are getting wiser. We are watching the space, and gradually we should be able to get there.
Okay, so you just made mention of that because the missing link, I always have a problem with fanciful or plausible or rather beautiful plan.
Yeah.
You reel out your manifesto, we hear them, we read through, and then at the end of it all we don't find that implemented. But let's look at one other thing again. You started mentioning the inhibitions, some of the things that will make you or makes a leader not to perform, and you talk about the people who works, the people that work on the, I think that was where you were driving at the moment. Beyond that, what are the things that you think can also be a stumbling block to a leader, or that will make him not to perform when he's there?
Well, let me begin with one, but it's not something that can easily be you cannot observe it easily. It's what we call self-leadership. My capacity to lead myself first. And that is the foundation of every other kind of leadership. Whether you are leading a group, I'm leading Benue Television, I'm leading the United Nations or Nigeria. It starts with that self-leadership. And this builds around issues of character, emotions management, things you may not, software things you may not quite easily see there, but they now tend to either create a deficit in how somebody conducts himself. But critically again, if I look at you now from 1, 2, 3 things, I should be able to gauge that level of your self-leadership. For instance, easily, how does he respond in the media? How is his behavior on the social, Facebook or all that's like? How does he, and even the illustration I talked about, relationship with family members and sort of thing. Because there are actually some people that even if they stand elections, even their wives or their children may not vote them and that. There are different ways to do that at the level of self-leadership. Now, these inhibitions, let me tell you, the greatest inhibition, though a positive thing and negative thing, is what I call managing expectations. I want to be governor. You are my friend, you have expectations from me. You are my friend, you have expectations from me. That guy is my enemy, he has expectations from me. My wife has his expectations. My community has his expectations. How do I manage these expectations? Now, it begins to create issues. Because I have to be fair to my church. My pastor is a nice guy. I need to do that. I need to do that. So many things begin to come up. And remember, another thing that also could be an inhibition in club now is that very blueprint or whatever the social contract are signed with the people and expressed in a manifesto. I begin to have a problem with it. It begins to also stare me in the face I begin to see reality. I begin to get confused. So these beautiful things I was talking about really can't get right on that. Blah, 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 blah. We can go on. Up to the earlier thing I mentioned to you about the very system structures of things around constitution. In fact, you have your big party. That is also an inhibition. I'm using the word inhibition carefully. Because your big party too is pressing a demand. And this demand could be tough. You have your godfather. And if you are into some kind of arrangements, you have some arrangements that are unknown and unseen. Many inhibitions. They will always exist. That is why at the beginning of the program I mentioned the issue of tested leadership
with impact.
Proving with impact. Because how do we go trying to pick these things up? We are not in the lab to begin to analyze the impact of how the party, how my girlfriend or my wife or my boyfriend, it becomes difficult. So you just look at that person from the history you've heard. He was a class monitor, so he would just write people's names to be beaten. There must be everybody coming on screen in this process has a history you can trace and use it to know whether it's worth the stuff or not worth the stuff. The inhibitions are, let's not get too academic. There are many inhibitions, but this is a program for the public. But these ones are pointed out very key. In fact, you are an inhibition yourself. Because you are running a conflict in your mind. Hey, because you wanted to do certain things you felt, so inhibition begin to set in, and depending on how grounded you are in self-leadership, depending on how grounded you are solid as a character man, somebody with the right emotional stability, then things begin to they could even nosedive.
Okay, bringing it back home now to Benue State. Now it's very critical that the right decision is made at the end of the day. Now we talk about proving the characters of these aspirants, of these different people vying for different political positions to determine who will lead with impact. How else would Benue come up with selecting the leaders, the right leaders for them come 2023?
Well, now let me begin this way. Benue, I'll go to Benue like you now. Benue, you are going to have aspirants from different political parties. I would like that as you look at these aspirants, I don't want to use the word, let me just say pedigree. What I don't like. Look at, get convinced fundamentally about how you think first these aspirants in their own self can deliver. For me, I believe in the philosophy. An aspirant and a political party he stands for are synonyms. I stand to it. Because look at now, nobody is even talking about aspirants. His party processes to bring up aspirants. Yes, you may look at them as different people. Now, when you finish looking at the individual, look at the political systems. You have tried them. How have they proven to you? So now the question is, the political system that you have not tried, you cannot also jettison it that when you try the others, they fail. So it's the same thing, No. Rather, what a team man say, granite does not burn.
Once bitten, twice shy.
Once bitten, twice shy. So for me, people should look at these concerns while they are looking at the individuals. Because the party and the individual, they interface. They are silent twins.
Okay.
They will remain there.
There will be an argument in that regard. When you say party and individual, it's indeed but I don't know.
It's a controversial.
It's something to
controversial fact,
because you can't say the party and the candidates are the same. Sometimes you may have a bad candidate. In the earlier the administration before the one
who brought the candidate?
The party could be the party.
Yes, the party brought the candidate.
The party can also produce, just like saying you have one particular family and you give birth to many children with different character. Is it possible?
Yes, it's possible.
So one party which you are looking at it as a bad one could also produce a good candidate.
It's possible. But once your child goes to my house and steals something, they will say the child of this person stole that.
That is a fact as well.
Yes.
I'm just saying one particular family or a parent can.
You know, I'm giving advice to Benue people from the perspective that they look at candidates and they look at parties.
Yes, I understand.
And then they look at them all together.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
There is one trend,
we're running out of time, so
Okay.
Yeah, this trend is, they ask the question, so who are we voting for? It now becomes a collective thing.
Yeah.
How do we correct that? And then there is another thing of people, instead of promoting their candidates, goes tarnishing the image of another candidate as well of winning.
Very wrong.
Can you please, what's your opinion?
Well, it's wrong for me. I am the state publicity secretary of New Nigeria People's Party. For us as New Nigeria People's Party, it's even a policy. Any engagement must be issue-based. I can't get on you as a person and begin to talk about your family life, blah, blah, blah. I can only talk connecting those policies or those issues. I think as a party, I can do better. So it's very wrong when you watch in the media space, you see people insulting one another. It's mainly about inexperience or just exuberance.
Okay. Because let me just round up with this question. Looking at all of this that we have seen now, or most and the things that you have also said, in this leadership, people will be saying, looking at the economy, the security, and another aspect or sector of of Nigeria. For you today, if they ask you what kind of leaders will you be expecting in 2023 across board, just give us a few qualities of the kind of leaders you'll be expecting to have.
Number one, I'm expecting a leader that's a unifier. Sometimes we get carried away about economy, we talk grammar and forget very salient issues. I want a leader that is not divisive. I want a leader that will look at everybody and feel that yes, I'm in charge of these people and I have to deliver good judgment. I have to get the right policy. So I'm looking for a unifier more in my mind. So even if you tell me the grammar of how you are coming to for me as a person, how you are coming to fix Benue or fix Nigeria or fix whatever, I will look at your capacity to be that unifier. Because it's in trying to unify people and avoiding this silly divisiveness that we can get better. For us, particularly in Benue, we need a unifier. There are lots of rumored and premonitions, dichotomies here and there, which shouldn't be to that level. Since you are here, I don't need to go into detail, but feelings of this zone against this zone. No, let's try to behave as if we are delivering as one Benue and acting as such.
That's fine, because we have to invite you for some other time.
Maybe more deeper levels. I just got your call. So I say let me honor it. So I just passed an honor.
Indeed.
So he's testing the microphone today.
All right. So Sam Agwa, political analyst, thank you indeed for coming on the program.
Nice.
All right. We will go on a short break now, and when we come back, we will take the papers. Let's go on a short break.